All right, now on to the next Genesis deck. So this is the deck that I brought to the Genesis Invitational event, and it did okay. It did actually a lot better at that event than it did in testing, but it does have some pretty critical flaws that we will get into. But this is a great deck to pick up if you are interested in Genesis and you don't know what to play or you're just getting started. And it is a great way to if you purchase the legendary modern decks, you have a lot of great out of the box decks you could play in both modern constructed and in Genesis. So the Mitsurugi stuff and the Sky Striker stuff is good in advanced constructed, and this new X-Saber stuff is pretty darn good in Genesis. And we'll talk about how hopefully this list ages well and is not absolutely butchered by a points list update. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this list is pretty standard for the most part, but we'll talk about some of the things that and ways it has changed from that experience of playing. So the main deck has the pretty standard layout of the three Polina, which is a rescue cat for X-Sabers. So back in the day, in like 2010, 2011, when X-Sabers were good during the 5Ds era, X-Saber was the deck that got Rescue Cat banned and got it, re-released with its errata and everything. So what did they do? They made a Rescue Cat specifically for X-Saber. So tributes itself, special summons 2 out of the deck, and they do get their effects. And this is the best starter. You always want to see this card. And the biggest thing we changed about this list is we were playing 2 Tenki, which is like 35 points a piece, so like 70 points just on Tenki, just to have a greater chance of seeing this card. But we decided that was not at all worth it, so we changed that up and we were playing something else. But we do want to see this one as much as possible because it is so crazy. And we play the other new one, Bruno, where you can banish an earth monster from your graveyard to special summon him out of your hand, and then he searches a Saber spell trap from your deck. And this one is a level 3 tuner. So you're going to summon this one off of the Polina when you do the Polina effect, and if you have one in hand, it is also not terrible to draw. We have 3 Fall Troll. I actually have been thinking about not playing this one at 3, but this is essential to hard open if you want to do Gotham's Hand Loop shenanigans. And there's no real easy way to search this guy because he's a level 6 and a warrior. It's one of the things that's kind of anti-synergistic about X-Sabers is there's not like a Rhoda for X-Saber that just says add one from deck to hand as like a spell card. You need some other kind of convoluted way to get to this guy. So we play 3 just to increase the chances of hard opening it. And I'll talk about what we can do with that guy a little bit later. We have 2 Garsum is the level 4 non-tuner. So his actual effect is not that great, but it does come up. So if you have a way to leave this guy on board after you've done your whole combo, I think it's if you summon him off of either Polina or got him second call, one of the two, and he dies during the end phase, you do get to add something back off of his effect. But you basically summon this one and Bruno off of Polina, and that's how you do your level 7 synchro and how you basically get started. So those are all the X-Saber names. Again, the only one of those that's like really, really good is Polina. And then if you open Fall Troll with any other way to get to a combo, it's pretty darn good. And but the other X-Saber names are like not the other X-Saber names that exist within the game that would be options for us are not going to increase the ceiling of this deck all that much. We're not playing, Emmer's Blade or Boggart Knight or Dark Soul or anything like that. So on to the other cards. So we cut the Tenkis, and we are playing Speedroid Terrortop and Takatomborg, and you probably saw the MX Saber Invoker in the extra deck there. And we're playing this package because not only even though the Invoker is like 33 points, these are only 7 apiece, so this is 21 right here. And so total, this package is fewer points, which allows us for more non-engine, and is also just way, way, way better to open. And let's say you already have the Polina or something like that. Your opponent may burn interruptions and hand traps on this combo, and this combo does not use your normal summon. So if you go through all of this and you still have the Polina in hand to normal, your opponent may waste a you know, a Veiler or a Ghost Ogre on the MX-Saber Invoker or something like that, and you can just normal Polina after that. So I think this package is extremely strong, and I think even though 7 points per Terror Top is a lot, it is pretty good if the majority of the rest of your main deck is not pointed. So we are also playing, as seems to be the standard adoption for this deck, the Assault Mode package, which I think it's so sick. It's honestly probably not very good, if I'm being honest, but I think it is just the coolest thing ever. I'll just go ahead and get all of these. So we're playing the Cyreflector, and we're playing Mr. Beast, and we're playing the 2 Crimson Blader Assault Mode and the 1 Stardust Assault Mode. There's been times where I've even thought about playing a second Stardust Assault Mode, but this is the brick of all bricks. If you draw this guy, it is literally useless. It is the hardest brick I think I've ever played in a deck, where it is literally unsummonable if it is in your opening hand, and it makes your end board worse because you want to be able to end on this guy. Now, I wish that the effect of the Crimson Blader one, which is you can shuffle it back into your deck to add a different Assault Mode card to your hand, is awesome. And I wish that retroactively all of the Assault Mode cards could have that effect. Because even if they could, they still would not be busted. Like, if you could retroactively like retrain this card to do the same thing, it would still be only as good as it is right now. It would just be way less bricky. So what we're doing here is we are using the Nightwing Cleric level 8 Synchro monster to bridge from the X-Saber combo into this combo to have this Omni Negate as part of the end board. And it is quite strong, and I'll talk about how that works when we get into a combo. But the cool thing about the way this deck works is, you know, Cyreflector is an awesome starter, but normal summoning Cyreflector is not a full combo. Neither is hard opening the field spell, the dual zone or whatever. So you really need to be able to make the level 8 Synchro, the Nightwing Cleric, and special this guy from your deck to start the Assault Mode combo. Bad hands where you need to normal summon this guy are not where you want to be ideally. But it's still pretty good. It's just a little bit inconsistent, a little bit high rolly, but I do like this package, and I would experiment with a pure Assault Mode strategy, but it would still probably be pretty bad, if I'm being honest. And then we're playing the 3 Ascatar Dawnwalker with the 1 Fire Ant to enable that package. So you're seeing a lot of Garnets in this deck. Like, you don't want to open the Fire Ant, you don't want to open the Assault Mode guys. It is pretty high rolly and pretty risky, but it is one of those decks where it's like extremely high risk, extremely high reward. So this deck has basically 2 different combos that it can do that are basically, if you pull them off successfully, it's an auto win pretty much. But you do run some inconsistent cards in order for that to be the case. So this is actually a great starter. So if you have this along with like Bruno or Voltrol, this is pretty much a full combo. But this is way better than opening the only starter you have is the field spell or the Cyreflector. This guy's way better than that. So this guy by himself just makes the Nightwing Cleric, and then that gets you to the field spell, which gets you to the Cyreflector, etc., etc. Or gets you, vice versa. Cyreflector, then the field spell, then the beast, and so on and so on. But this guy can also just make any level 8 Synchro if you really need to. So crazy card, very good in this deck. And that is it for the monsters. On to the spells. We have 3 Saber combination. So the important effect on this is when you synchro summon an X-Saber, you can special an X-Saber from your deck. And it does have a weird effect that lets you do an attack boost, but that's not really all that relevant. It does come up, especially when you're ending on the X-Saber names in the extra deck. But the important part is just the special summon from deck. So there is a pretty good combo where if you hard open this plus the Cyreflector or this plus the Ascatar Dawnwalker is a full combo. And this helps you. This is the one card you have to hard open to bridge from the Assault Mode combo into the X-Saber combo, whereas the X-Saber combo does the opposite very easily. There is no one card combo where you only open the Assault Mode half, but obviously the Polina is a one card combo that gets you to everything. So playing 3 of this helps to see it in your opening hand, combo it with the other lesser starters, and still get to the same end board. And we'll talk about how that works eventually here. We're playing 2 Gotham Second Call. We search this off of the new X-Saber Gothams, the level 7 Synchro. We don't want to hard open this really, but it's good over multiple turns, so 2 is exactly the number that you want to play. And you don't want to forget that you can't conduct your battle phase after you activate this guy, so just kind of understand that it's a great first turn card because you don't have a battle phase regardless. But if you're planning on using this on turn 2 or beyond, just be aware of the fact that you don't have a battle phase. And if you're playing against this deck, do not let somebody shark you with that. So we have the Dual Evolution Assault Zone, the best card that could have ever been made for the Assault Mode strategy. This card is crazy. Being able to summon an Assault Mode monster while the Synchro is in your extra deck is just incredible. And it makes all the Assault Mode monsters so much more viable. This card is crazy. But unfortunately, it is not a full combo on its own, as we talked about. And then we have 2 Book of Eclipse. These are 4 points apiece. This is a board breaker, and then we side in additional board breakers for going second. Going first, like I said, if we do our full combo, it's pretty much our opponent can't crack through the board, but we do want to play something as a board breaker going second. This is a pretty good one. But we also have like Darkhold and Illusion Gate in the side and stuff like that. And Illusion Gate won me a lot of games. And then just the Assault Mode activate. Because we freed up, not pictured here, but because I freed up the points for switching Tenki for Terror Top, we were able to fit in a playset of Nibiru as well. So they're not pictured here, but 18 points are into Nibiru as well, which is really nice. And then the last card is Assault Mode Activate, which is a garbage card, but you actually do have to play 2 because of the way your combo works, and we'll get into that. But onto the extra deck, we have the X-Saber Invoker, like we said, which is a way to get around not having to play Tenki. And it is a X-Saber by name, which is nice because you think this guy would kind of gum up your board when you don't have an EMZ to utilize in this format and you're trying to do a lot of synchro plays and you need material on the field. And that can be true, but you can always tribute it off for Gothams to loop cards out of your opponent's hand, which we'll talk about. And we were playing 2 of the X-Saber Gothams, the new one. I love this guy so much. I love the artwork on this card. I think it looks awesome. We do have a Starlight one, but it's just going in a binder. So this guy lets you add a Saber spell trap or a Gotham's spell trap. So we get the Gotham Second Call, and it lets us extend from there. So it's basically like a mini soul charge for this deck. And it is just absolutely awesome. He is also, much like the original Gothams, can be made with 2 tuners. How about that? So that actually was intentional lore and not a misprint on the original Gothams, I guess. Or if it was, they decided to retroactively add it into the way the card works. So little Gothams here can still be made with double tuners just like the big Gothams can. We've got the new Souza. And it's funny that they do this with the X-Saber cards because this one is not an X-Saber by name, but then he is because of his effect. It's really weird because they already have a X-Saber Souza or whatever. So this guy is pretty good. He's a quick effect pop as part of your end board. And if you need a level 10 to make as part of your end board, like you've gone through the Gotham's line that does all the hand rips and everything, and you want to have a disruption if your opponent is on like 1 card or something, this guy definitely is a disruption to end on. So he's okay. And then we play the one double X-Saber Gothams, the original Gothams, the big Gothams, and he lets us do crazy hand loop shenanigans, and he will probably be given points pretty soon in Genesis if I had to guess, even though this X-Saber deck does not have any tops. I think the idea of a deck that can hand loop your opponent for their entire hand on the first turn is probably a little bit too powerful for them to continue to allow, or a little bit too degenerate and unfun for them to continue to allow to exist. But we do have a combo which we can hand loop our opponent for everything, and it's pretty strong. We're playing 2 of the Nightwing Cleric. I've thought about cutting one of these because once we go through the full Assault Mode combo, We don't really need the second one, but we're sticking with it for now. So generic level 8 synchro, you get to special summon a monster that mentions assault mode straight from your deck, which is going to be the Psy Reflector, and the Psy Reflector is going to add the field spell, and then the field spell is going to add Mr. Beast, and then you're going to continue your combo from there. We also have the Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon, which allows us to revive Psy Reflector and make a Synchro monster with a different level than what we currently have in the field. Helps us quite a bit with converting our guys into something else. It's actually pretty essential to play this guy, but the only thing you can revive off of it is the Psy Reflector. We are also playing 2 of regular Stardust Dragon, and we probably can cut one of these as well, but this is to send for Assault Mode. Obviously, you have to play at least one to get into Stardust Assault Mode. So I may cut one of these guys and see if we can play something else in its slot, but Stardust Dragon on the end board is not the worst thing in the world either, because it can negate things like Dark Hole and Illusion Gate. So that's pretty good, but pretty limited in its applications nowadays compared to how it would have been back in the good old days of 2008. Crimson Blader for the Crimson Blader Assault Mode, and this card is also a pretty decent generic level 8 synchro that can be a pseudo floodgate against certain decks you may be up against, so we play that guy. We're playing Draco Berserker as part of our end board because when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish it. It's similar to Fenrir a little bit. And then this guy can also get over really huge monsters and attack for really huge amounts of damage. So we like this guy a lot, but I wish there was something better we could play in this slot, but he is completely generic and he is a disruption on the end board. So, and he's also 0 points, so I think he's definitely worth playing in that spot. We have a generic 10 in Cheng Ying. So same thing, it's a generic 10 that's 0 points and is a form of disruption on our end board, so we like that. And then we have 2 11s. So we have the Juraishin and the Pep. That's why the Juraishin was not in the Psychic video, because he was busy in this deck and I couldn't find him in time. And these 2 guys are incredible, super easy to make. Bruno plus the level 8 is the level 8 synchro, like the spent Nightwing Cleric or the spent Stardust Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon is enough to get into one of these guys, and they do kind of just win the game. So with that out of the way, let's talk about a combo I'm going to show you guys. So we normal summon Polina and tribute it to special summon 2 X-Sabers out of the deck. We get Bruno and we get Garson. Bruno triggers here and lets us add the Saber combination, which we will then go ahead and activate. And then we will synchro for 7 for the new X-Saber Gothams. And we will go Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, so the Saber combination is going to special out of the deck another Polina, and the Gothams is going to add to hand a second, or it's going to add a Gotham second call. We'll go ahead and activate the second call here and revive the Garsam and the Bruno. Then we can synchro for 8 right here to go ahead and make the Nightwing Cleric. As soon as the Nightwing Cleric hits the field, it is going to get our first copy of Assault Mode activate and set it, and this can be activated this turn. That's how we're going to get to the Stardust Assault Mode. So yeah, we special this guy, we get the field spell. The field spell adds Mr. Beast. We can then go ahead and synchro the Bruno with the Cleric for one of our level 11s. So let's go ahead and get Pep right here. And then we'll use Mr. Beast, discard it, to add the second Assault Mode activate to our hand. Then we'll use the Psy Reflector effect to revive the Mr. Beast and modulate his level to... So I think with this combo, we're just going to modulate him to a 7 and make an 8 here, and get the Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon, and then revive the Psy Reflector. And we'll go ahead and synchro these 2 away for the Draco Berserker. And then we can Assault Mode activate for the Stardust Assault Mode. So this is already pretty crazy here, where we have the Omni Negate, the Towers, and the Quick Effect Banish. And if we wanted to, if we had a second Bruno in hand, we could banish an Earth, special the Bruno out, and synchro the Bruno and the Stardust for duration. And then this would be our end board instead, which is pretty crazy. Alternatively, you doing that same setup combo, you could just start hand looping with Gothams. And then if you were able to... Another way, you can actually bridge into the X-Saber combo from the Assault Mode combo if you had hard open Saber combination. I'll show you guys how to do that. So if we have a card in hand to discard, we'll activate Ascatar Dawnwalker, discarding that card to summon it and the Fire Ant. And then we can go ahead and... I guess we can go ahead and activate the Saber combination. There's no reason why we can't. We'll synchro for 8 there for the Nightwing Cleric. The Nightwing Cleric will go ahead and set the Assault Mode Activate directly from our deck, which can be activated this turn. And then we'll activate its effect, discarding another card to special the Psy Reflector. The Psy Reflector will go ahead and get the Field Spell. And the Field Spell will go ahead and get Mr. Beast. And we can discard Mr. Beast to get the second Assault Mode Activate. And then we can use Psy Reflector's effect to revive Mr. Beast and make him a 6. So we can make a 7 here. Mr. Beast, 6-7. God, this is really a Gen Z video or whatever. So we'll make the regular Gothams here. And then we'll go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. The... we will get the Gotham Second Call and special from deck the Polina. And then the Polina here distributes itself to get you your 2 names. And you can literally do whatever you want from here. So that is a way in which you can bridge into the full X-Saber combo without having to hard open Polina. So really, really crazy deck. I guess I'll talk about the side deck a little bit. So we are on a Saber Hole in the side. And we are on the Dark Hole Illusion Gate package like I talked about. We're also on a playset of Kaiju, a playset of Twin Twisters, a playset of non-fusion area, and that is particularly just targeted hate against decks in the format that I keep seeing locals that I dislike, particularly Art Mage, Draco Tail, and branded variants, where I just do not want them to fusion summon at all. So that's 0 point targeted hate against them. And then we're also playing the Vanadium Reframing in this deck. It is a counter trap, like it's an Omni Negate counter trap that we can side in for going first in game 3 to where we don't lose to cards like Dark Ruler and Ultimate Slayer anymore. So that's it for the X-Saber deck. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And now moving on to the next one.